Okay, so over the weekend we've begun to read from the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah comes 14 years after what we've just been reading in Ezra. Ezra had returned with one of the waves of the people. Nehemiah now comes later from the heart of the empire to return to the promised land. He was a cupbearer for the king. He'd heard news about the poor state of Jerusalem. The king had seen him looking sad. Had asked him what was wrong. That was risky, being sad in the presence of the emperor. But Nehemiah had confessed his concern for his home city, and the emperor graciously, in response to a prayer from Nehemiah to God, an arrow prayer, allowed him to come back and to sort things out, and sent him with his blessing. And so Nehemiah in chapter 2 has come back, and has gone out at night without anyone else aware, just so he can have a look and assess the damage. And in chapter 2 and verses 17 and 18 he talks about the walls being ruined. The gates haven't been burnt with fire. There's no protection for the city of Jerusalem. There's no safety in the city. That's the whole point of a city, is to be a safe place. And so he shares that with the religious leaders, that they are in disgrace, and challenges them to the mess that's there, but also shares then God's grace to him in hearing his prayer and sending him back. And that combination of the challenge but also the encouragement spurs the people on to say, well, let's get on with the walls. And so chapter 3 is all about the walls. Eliashib the high priest and his fellow priests went to work and rebuilt the sheep gate. They dedicated it and set its doors in place, building as far as the Tower of the 100, which they dedicated, and as far as the Tower of Hananel. The men of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zaccur son of Imri built next to them. The fish gate was rebuilt by the sons of Hassanah. They laid its beams and put its doors and bolts and bars in place. Meremoth son of Uriah the son of Hakkoz repaired the next section. Next to him Meshullam son of Berechiah the son of Meshezabel made repairs, and next to him Zadok son of Baana also made repairs. The next section was repaired by the men of Tekoa, but their nobles would not put their shoulders to the work under their supervisors. The Jeshanah gate was repaired by Jehoiada son of Pasah and Meshullam son of Bezodiah. They laid its beams and put its doors with their bolts and bars in place. Next to them repairs were made by men from Gibeon and Mizpah, Melatiah of Gibeon and Jadon of Meronoth, places under the authority of the governor of Trans-Euphrates. Uzziel son of Harhiah, one of the goldsmiths, repaired the next section, and Hananiah, one of the perfume makers, made repairs next to that. They restored Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. Raphiah son of Hur, ruler of a half district of Jerusalem, repaired the next section. Adjoining this, Jediah son of Haramoth made repairs opposite his house, and Hattush son of Hashabneiah made repairs next to him. Malchijah son of Harim and Hashub son of Pahath Moab repaired another section and the towers of the ovens. Shallum son of Halahesh, ruler of a half district of Jerusalem, repaired the next section with the help of his daughters. The valley gate was repaired by Hanan and the residence by Zanoah. They rebuilt it and put its doors with their bolts and bars in place. They also repaired 1,000 cubits of the wall as far as the dung gate. The dung gate was repaired by Malchijah son of Rechab, ruler of the district of Beth Hakkerem, who rebuilt it and put its doors with their bolts and bars in place. The fountain gate was repaired by Shallum son of Kol-Hoseh, ruler of the district of Mizpah. He rebuilt it, roofing it over and putting its doors and bolts and bars in place. He also repaired the wall of the pool of Siloam by the king's garden, as far as the steps going down from the city of David. Beyond him, Nehemiah son of Azbuk, ruler of a half district of Beth-zur, made repairs up to a point opposite the tombs of David, as far as the artificial pool and the house of the heroes. Next to him the repairs were made by the Levites under Rehum son of Bani. Beside him Hashabiah, ruler of half the district of Keilah, carried out repairs for his district. Next to him the repairs were made by their fellow Levites under Binnui son of Henadad, ruler of the other half district of Keilah. Next to him Ezer son of Jeshua, ruler of Mizpah, repaired another section from a point facing the ascent to the armory as far as the angle of the wall. Next to him Barak son of Zabbai zealously repaired another section from the angle to the entrance of the house of Eliashib the high priest. Next to him Meremoth son of Uriah the son of Hakkoz repaired another section from the entrance of Eliashib's house to the end of it. The repairs next to him were made by the priests from the surrounding region. Beyond them Benjamin and Hashub made repairs in front of their house, and next to them Azariah son of Maaseiah the son of Ananiah made repairs beside his house. Next to him Binnui son of Henadad repaired another section from Azariah's house to the angle and the corner, and Palal son of Uzziah worked opposite the angle and the tower projecting from the upper palace near the court of the guard. Next to him, Pedaiah son of Parosh and the temple servants living on the hill of Ophel made repairs up to a point opposite the water gate towards the east and the projecting tower. Next to them, the men of Tekoa repaired another section from the great projecting tower to the wall of Ophel. Above the horse gate, the priests made repairs, each in front of his own house. Next to them, Zadok son of Immer made repairs opposite his house. Next to them, Shemaiah son of Shechaniah, the guard at the east gate, made repairs. Next to him, Hananiah son of Shelemiah and Hanun, the sixth son of Zalaph, repaired another section. Next to them, Meshullam son of Berechiah made repairs opposite his living quarters. Next to him, Melchijah, one of the goldsmiths, made repairs as far as the house of the temple servants and the merchants opposite the inspection gate, and as far as the room above the corner. And between the room above the corner and the sheep gate, the goldsmiths and merchants made repairs. So a long list of who did what. What do we make of that? Well, I think the remarkable thing is that the city has gone from being in disrepair and nothing happening to, it seems to be, everybody pitching in to do their bit. And there's a whole variety here, isn't there? There are merchants and goldsmiths who could have said, well, it's not my trade, I don't build, but they're throwing their hat in. The Levites are there at the walls. One man is there with his daughters. All sorts of people working side by side to take responsibility for a section of the wall to repair it so that the whole city might be protected. Some doing it just outside their house, others at other places. Someone unfortunately got the dung gate, someone perhaps more excitedly got the Hall of Heroes. All needed doing, and without them working together and the whole wall being fixed, actually it would be no benefit, because if you repair 99% of the wall and there's a gap, you still are vulnerable. And so there's this wonderful picture then of the whole company working together. There's only one jarring note of some officials, some nobles, who would not put their shoulders to the work under their supervisors. And it's a sad reflection that the human heart is such that there are some who are not willing to submit to leadership and to play their part, so there is that jarring note. But apart from that, there's this beautiful picture of the blend of everybody pitching in to join in the work. And that's a challenge to us, isn't it, as to whether we are playing our part today in the work of God's kingdom. It might be an unspectacular part at the dung gate. It might be a seemingly unadventurous part just opposite our house. It might be something we're doing with our family, with our daughters helping out. But are we playing our part? Or are we refusing to submit to the leadership in order to get on and do what we need to be doing? So a real challenge to us to play our part, whatever that might be, in God's kingdom building today. And may we go out with that intention